What's up, guys, and welcome back to another video. It is preview time of the Springboks versus the British and Irish Lions. The first test gets underway this weekend. The build-up has been insane. One stage we weren't sure whether we're going to get a tournament. One stage we weren't sure whether we're going to have a crowd or not. One stage we weren't sure whether players or teams will be able to travel. One thing's for sure, we know that there is a test match that is taking place this weekend. Springboks versus the Lions, and what a game it's set to be. Unfortunately for the series, we do not have fans due to COVID-19 and South Africa being under level 4 lockdown. Having said that, we at least still get rugby matches, and we at least still get to see the talent that gets to provide from both the four nations participating in the British and Irish squad, and obviously the Springboks in itself. Now, the actual Springbok squad hasn't been seen since the Rugby World Cup final, where they beat England. There's been so much talk, whether it's positive or negative, about the current state of SA Rugby and where we are going to see them. Are they fit mentally and physically? Are they going to be able to handle the physicality of the British and Irish Lions? Are they going to be there and focused to adapt to their set pieces, to capitalise on handling errors or mistakes from the Lions, and keep their discipline intact in order to not give away penalties where others can kick over and capitalise on points? Obviously, with the two squads that were announced for the first test, there are going to be question marks for some, and there will be question marks for others, and some might not even have question marks at all. But these teams have been named, and the coaches, respective coaches in Warren Gatland and Jacques Ninaber have named solid players, and we can't really complain about too much. But having said that, we will all tend to agree to disagree. This weekend is historic. It's an opportunity for all these players and guys to really make history. It happens every 4 years, and for each specific country of the Southern Hemisphere, it happens every 12 years. In 2009, the British and Irish Lions last played here with Peter de Villiers led the squad to a 2-1 victory, if I'm not mistaken. A lot of people are saying it's going to be a 2-1 victory, but everyone's mixed. Lots thinking South Africa aren't fit mentally or physically. People are curious to see whether or not South Africa have the edge. Some are even saying this isn't the best Lions squad they could have selected going into this tournament. But hey, that's just your opinions. And my opinions, we now need to get to see what gets produced on this weekend. After 5 warm-up games in South Africa, British and Irish Lions did and already to up front. I mean, immense physical challenge of the Springboks. They, I think, already. Obviously, they made short works of the Lions and the Sharks twice. Played the Stormers, who weren't really in the greatest form. Some said due to COVID restrictions or Currie Cup commitments. Bloody Blue, still Lions dominated. Unfortunately, the one test or rugby match that we were looking forward to was indeed the Bulls taking on the Lions. I think they could have been the most competitive and possibly have even beaten the Lions after we saw the Bulls beat this SAS squad, or SAC squad, can we call them. The Lions did indeed lose one game, and that was against the South Africa A in the first test last Wednesday. And obviously, we pretty much know a very strong Springbok lineup, but there were stars that weren't in the squad. It gave hope, it gave positivity back into the Springbok brand, as we've been waiting so long to see what they could do. How can they behave opposed to what we've seen in the World Cup? Georgia wasn't really a challenge. Yes, they gave us grey hairs at the start, but we didn't get that second test, so we haven't really had full-on physicality. So it's going to be interesting to see how this team adjusts. For me, one thing that I was worried about for the SA squad was our scrums. I felt it wasn't as that strength that we know and are used to. And South Africa pride themselves on their set pieces and have formidable units within who could physically dominate their position to get them on the front foot. So it's going to be important that these guys really take action this weekend. And if we look at the squads, and I'll show you the squads right now. I'm a bit nervous as to why Rusty and Jacques have gone with Ox as a newbie who's played two rugby matches for the Springboks SA squad, and Trevor Nyakane I just felt they haven't been on the greatest of form. Love them both respectable players, but I would have gone with a stronger force, as in Malcolm Mark, Stephen Kitzer, Frans Malherbe, the experienced bunch, the World Cup winning bunch. I think they would have been a formidable force, opposed to what we saw when those guys came on in the second half of the SAA game. We saw changes being made, more things happening. So I'm a bit concerned. Bongi and Bonambi probably just definitely deserves his position there, but I'm a bit nervous about 1 and 2. That's probably my only headache within the whole squad right now. It's that one. The rest of the squad I'm happy with. I think we've chosen a good team for the Springboks. Mapimpi, I mean, World Cup winner, why not? I do feel for Spoon Kosi. I think he had an outstanding game for SAA squads. I'm sorry he's missing out, but unfortunately, it's the nature of the game when you get into positions and the quality of wings that South African rugby currently have right now. I mean, these things happen. But as far as centres, forwards, I'm stoked for Kwagga Smith. I think this is a long time coming. He gets to start for the Springboks. Phenomenal player, great talent. Bench also strong. Maybe Damian Willemse. I might have put in Frans Steyn or Morne Steyn just to give, or Frans Steyn and then Morne Steyn instead of Elton Yankees, just to give the Springboks a little bit more experience of players who have played in this type of situation. You know, it's important to get the first one up this weekend. So for me, those are just the question marks. So question mark on the bench. Yankees I would have taken out for Morne Steyn perhaps, and Damian Willemse I would have taken out for Francois Steyn. And then obviously the front row I would have just swapped them around from starting to benched. British National Lions squad, fantastic team as well. I mean, the highlight there, Alan Jones. He was injured against Japan, written off for the whole tournament. The man's captain. Absolutely outstanding. Couldn't be happier for him. Great squad with them as well. I mean, Tom Curry, brilliant number 7. Jack Connon at number 8. Wyn Jones, Luke Cowie, Dickie Tag for long. I mean, pure class. It's going to be important to see how Mara Itaje and Anna Jones go against Franco, go against the Springbok pack of Ibn Smith and Franco Matsnet. How are they going to compete? How are they going to capitalise on the various opportunities in that line-up mode? Big important modes is going well. So fantastic team. Dan Big at number 10. No complaints there. Phenomenal player. Duan van der Merwe, I'm so excited for him to go against Cleveland Colby. I think it's going to be so interesting to see two phenomenal wings going against each other. One's David and the other's Goliath. It's going to be insane. Robbie Henshaw, brilliant player, great talent, nothing against him, but I would have probably stuck with Farrell. Pretty much my question mark there, just because of the fact that Farrell has just been pretty much on point with anything he's done. Well, in certain instances, except his tackling. He's on point when it comes to pressure situations. May not have been on point in this tournament as of yet, but I find from an experience point of view, it's good to have Owen on. From a leadership point of view, from a backup kicker point of view, maybe I would have gone with Farrell and then put Henshaw on the bench. Liam Williams, again, brilliant. Look at the bench. Ken Owens, Rory Sutherland, Carl Sinclair, Ty Byrne, Hamish Watson, Conor Murray, Owen Farrell, Liam Williams. I mean, that's terrifying. Oh, and that's the other change I would have done. I would have put Ali Price on the bench and started with Conor Murray. I know Conor was going to be the backup captain for Alan Jones, but obviously Jones is back. Conor goes to the bench. I would have started with Conor. Again, just from the experience point of view. Conor and Faf play a very similar game. They're both box kicking experts. Having a guy like Conor, who's probably the more senior in that position, would put Faf under pressure and could allow Faf to make mistakes going forward. And then you got the differences there. Also the height difference. Conor Murray is an absolute giant versus Faf. Just puts pressure on to play against these two guys of immense quality and talent. One a veteran, the other upcoming. For me, Faf's box kicking is one of his weakest points. But going against I know you said Conor McGregor, Conor Murray, it would have put more pressure on Faf. To me, it would have thrown him off his game a little bit. But again, that's just my thoughts and opinion on it. I think it's going to be an immense game and squad that we've seen. Other talking topics within the game, I mentioned scrums just before the squads that line out. South Africa were flawless in the World Cup, but we got to watch out for Maritoja. He has been superb in the Lions squad in all the warm-up games. So against Etzebeth and Mustard, they've got to be alert to watch what Maritoja has to do, and they need to be ready. The breakdown, both sides have a plethora of world-class back rows to call upon, and despite the Springboks missing Big Dwayne and injury Dwayne to injury, Sam Warburton believes, and he's mentioned that the Boks are ahead of the Lions in this one, and I don't far off agree with him. But again, anything can happen. Big boys in there. Anything can happen. It's just who shows up on the game. Defence area is probably the key. And this is where Jacques Nenelber comes in. He was the former defence coach before he became head coach. So it's going to be interesting to see how the defence works. I mean, you look at the Lions, there's so much experience within that squad. You look at South Africa, Valileru, under the high ball, he's sometimes good, sometimes he's hot and cold. So the pressure's going to be on him. And I think we're going to be seeing a lot of kicking going into this game. So it's going to be interesting. Goal kicking, I'm confident in Hydro Pollard. As far as Dan Bigger, obviously the Welshman is pure class and quality. Whether he's better than Hydro Pollard, we'll need to wait and see. But we also know that Owen Farrell is a good backup. It could be, so could Dan to him. Shuey Hogg can also kick, but I wouldn't put him as my starting kicker. So there's options there in the background for the British and Irish Lions squad. So, again, hence why I was saying, should maybe start with Farrell, just to take the pressure off Dan, so he can focus on his game plan at fly-off, rather than the kicking aspect of it. And then, obviously, your bench, the bomb squad. I mean, South Africa's bench is pretty dominant, terrifying, and I say the same for the British and Irish Lions bomb squad. It's just massive, big blokes who are going to come on hungry. This isn't going to happen again for another 4 years. This is the first test. There's so much on the line for these players. There's so much history to be made. There's so much memories to be created. And there's so much moments that need to happen. These guys are going to want to give it the absolute best. It's the second most proudest tournament type tour to the World Cup, I would say, because of the history that the Lions bring to the brand of rugby, because of the history the Southern Hemisphere teams bring to the Lions brand in the past, memories that we've seen this happen for the past many, many years. 12 years ago, South Africa may have won. 12 years later, we've seen the Lions and the Northern Hemisphere rugby produce phenomenal talent. We've seen the likes of an Irish team come up and really dominate world rugby in 2018. We've seen Scotland coming from in the decade, a team that would always compete with Italy, to a team that stands on their own and has their own opportunities and could have possibly won the Six Nations if they just got all their ducks in a row. We could never count out the English. They're always on top, but they have their moments. And Wales, what a success story. In the past 5 years, the hot and cold this team has been produced, but then to make their comeback story into 2020, win the Six Nations after an appalling year before, it's just remarkable. So well done to all the 4 nations that are in here. I cannot wait to share this day with all of you. So please, if you haven't subscribed, hit the subscribe button. Join me on my stream this weekend. It is going to be epic. Pint a few beers, enjoy the rugby, and it's going to be memorable. So please join me on this one. I cannot wait. I really cannot. It's a great rugby to look forward to this weekend. It is going to be immense. It is going to be memorable. And I feel we're just going to be flooded with pure class rugby and talent. So best of luck to the Springboks. Best of luck to the Lions. Who do I think is going to win the first one up? Well, I'm going to go to the Springboks. I think they could just edge it. But who knows? It's rugby. Anything can happen. That's going to do it for today's video. I hope you guys enjoyed it. If you did, smash the thumbs up button and subscribe if you're new. And I'll see you real soon for another one. Stay safe and never give up. Cheers.